Well, howdy folks, it's Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician here, making another video for you out of Boise, Idaho, and I'm going to try some new things here. I don't know if you can see me or not, hear me or not. If you notice, I'm in front of the camera. That's because I got this cool new camera stand that flexes and does all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm going to try to start using my camera stand and start trying to get some video of me actually working and talking to you so you can kind of see how things happen and kind of just ride along with me. You never know when I might run into a snag or an issue or a problem that we've never seen before or need to figure out how to deal with and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited about it, and hopefully the videos come out good and all that other stuff. I'm still going to shoot raw video. In other words, I don't edit any of my videos. I turn my phone on, I use the camera on my phone, and I hit record. So, and then from there, it just, whatever happens, and then I upload the video. So it's still pretty much going to be the same. I'm still home with the 4 kids and all that other good stuff, so expect me to pause it quite a bit while I'm attending to the babies and all that and whatnot. But right now, we're going to start working on this 91 Ford F250. It needs a water pump. It's got a leak. And now it's very common for these old Fords like this for the water pump. It's not actually the water pump gasket that's leaking. What it is it's the timing cover gasket that's leaking back in here. And so you've got these 2 really long bolts that go through the water pump to the timing cover, and the big issue with that is anytime you've got a timing cover water pump that's been leaking, a lot of times it leaks where those bolts are, and those bolts become compromised, they get rusted, they get stuck, and they oftentimes like to break. So pretty much whenever I see a job like this, one of these old Fords, I go ahead and just order new water pump bolts and all that other stuff. So the first thing, obviously, what I did to start this job was drain my coolant. I'm going to go ahead and get my battery disconnected, and then I'm going to get my belt off. Here's my tensioner right here, and then from there I'm going to start working on getting my fan off. Now luckily on this one we don't have to have a special fan tool. We've got 4 bolts right here, so we're just going to get those off and then go from there. Get our radiator shroud out and everything else out of the way so we can get in here and do a water pump and a timing service on this Ford. And there's a few other little projects that we're going to do. We're going to do a tune-up. I'm going to pull and check the distributor, all different kinds of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it now, and I'm going to get set up to get my belt pulled off and start working. Alright, so we are going to use 15mm socket on our spring-loaded tensioner for our power steering pump and AC belt, and then we're going to use a 14mm socket here and a 15mm socket here to go ahead and loosen our alternator and remove our alternator belt and all that other good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and set you up and get that done. Alright, here we go. And yeah, I got something that I'm standing on. This truck's got a nice lift on it, so go ahead and loosen that belt, let that drop down there. Now then, actually I need to go get a ratchet, so I'm going to go get a ratchet for that alternator. I'll be right back. Alright, here we go. Get down in here. Now I'm not going to remove the alternator just yet. I just want to get my belt out of the way, so I got to at least loosen it up. I'll cross the bridge of getting the alternator out of the way a little bit later on. So I suspect, because of the way I do film and stuff, I suspect that this truck, this series working on this 91 Ford F250, this will probably be like a 3 or 4 part series, because we are going to be doing a lot of work to it. Alright, there we go. That's all it took. Push that alternator down. So actually we'll get our front belt removed off. Okay, you're gonna have to fight it a little bit. We're getting it off around the fan. It's cold out here too, guys. Brr. I know it's below freezing, that's for sure. But This is actually one way I keep my prices cheap, and this is actually how I'm able to work the way I work, because I don't have any overhead, literally. So I don't have a building or a sign or anything like that. Alright, and then same with your other belt. Just kind of wrestle it around that fan. And take your time, guys. There's a lot of people out there that are all big about, oh, I can get this done so super fast. Nah, take your time. Don't booger anything up. Make sure it's done right the first time. All that other good stuff. Alright, there we go. Got one more fan blade here to work around. Alright, so now both of our belts are off. Which means I can now focus on the fan shroud and getting that fan off. Those look like 13, possibly 12 millimeter bolts, so I'm going to go ahead and size those up, and then we'll get this fan shroud and fan off. Alright, and so I'm back, and what we've done here with the fan and the fan shroud is I've taken out 3 fan bolts, and I've got the fan loose, ready to come out. I've left 1 bolt in there. At the same time, I've also loosened my fan shroud, and I've got it set back. Here's the reason why. If you get ahead of yourself and you get in here and you just take your fan off, you're not going to be able to get it out by clearing the shroud, and you're probably going to have to let it rest and set down in here. And more than likely, you're going to end up nicking or hitting the radiator by doing that. You really want to pull all this out as one, because you got all these little fins in here, and you don't want to get in a position where you got to arrest the fan, or the fan drops and hits your radiator fins, because then you're replacing your radiator. So I'm just going to reach in here, take this final bolt out, and now I've got full control of my fan. Okay. And if you can, just lift it all out as one. If you can't, lift up your shroud enough to at least get your heavy fan out of the way. So now your chances of damaging the radiator are pretty much slim to none. And now we're just going to go ahead and pull our shroud out. And voila! There you go, folks. And we avoid hitting the radiator or causing any damage. Go ahead and take our pulley off here. Set that aside. And now it's time to start taking things apart. I think the next thing that I'm going to go ahead and take off is going to be this tensioner. I'll work on getting that off. Then we'll start working on getting everything out of the way so we can work on the water pump and the timing cover.